But it's time now for the Great British Debate, and I'm asking, will power couple Giorgia Meloni and Rishi Sunak, or as I like to call them, M&S, will they be able to solve the migrant crisis? Now, Giorgia Meloni and Rishi Sunak, an alliance with shared concerns over illegal migration, could potentially reshape Europe's approach to this very concerning issue. Now, the collaboration is proving instrumental as they've successfully influenced European policy on illegal migration, co-chaired meetings and secured deals with multiple nations. Their joint efforts have yielded an 8-point plan for, despite being labelled extreme by some international press, but will it be enough to solve the crisis? So joining me to discuss is former Minister of State for Europe, Dennis McShane, former Tory MP and Chair of Environmental, Food and Rural Affairs, Mike Parry, journalist and broadcaster Mike Parry, and former Downing Street advisor and commentator Sean Worth. Right, I'm going to start with you, Dennis McShane, since you made your way into the studio. Dennis.
Answer, not really. Both were elected at the same time about a year ago, and both said we're going to stop the boats. In Italy, we are now an extra 300,000 arrivals because she doesn't know what to do. They're swimming, a bit like Rishi Sunak. He promised to stop the boats, failed completely. We know that. They met and they had a meeting, not the whole meeting of the European political community. It was like a sort of subcommittee. And they agreed to cooperate with Frontex, which Britain was a member of until 2016. So it's not a bad thing. I'm glad Rishi now is engaging with the European Union. No, Giorgia as well. She was elected on a very anti-European ticket. The moment she got into power, she started love-bombing Europe because she needs their money, she needs their cooperation. And that's a lot of what we saw last week. Whether it adds to anything, I'm not sure. It's a longer debate, that, but it's a good start that finally Britain has left behind the Boris and Liz and Theresa May nonsense, and we're engaging seriously as in European affairs.
Well, it seems that Rishi Sunak has got a knack of doing this love bombing. He did that to Ursula von der Leyen. Remember the way they were looking at each other at that time. I'm going to come to Mike Parry on this one. Do you think it could potentially be enough? Do you think Rishi is showing the right sort of signs and that their relationship could be a start of something that's quite...
It's all talking again, isn't it? And talking has not got us anywhere trying to control the immigration problem in Europe. I prefer countries like Poland and Hungary. Poland is building fences between itself and Belarus to try and stop people coming into their country. Fences and walls. Hungary has built fences and walls on its south border. Now, that's what I call practical activity to try and get to grips with illegal immigration. But talk hasn't got us anywhere. I know people say Georgia is better than war. It's not a war, but it is a massive displacement of people around the world. We're not just talking about Europe, we're talking also about America. Did you know that outside of a company like Amazon, the displacement of people around the world, from South America into the United States, from Africa into Europe, is the biggest industry in the world? It's a massive profit-making business, and we have to get to grips with the people who are in charge of that business. You know, the Belgians, for instance.
Hang on, I'm confused, because what you're saying, Amazon. You're not talking about people coming from the Amazon, you're talking about Amazon.
No. What I'm saying is the biggest company in the world is Amazon, OK, in terms of 135 billion quid. The only more profitable industry in this world is moving people around the world, from South America into America, from Africa into Europe.
But fences and walls...
And we're doing nothing to stop it.
But you said fences and walls, which, they're not going to stop these people. These people will just climb over fences and walls. I've got to go to Mike Parry. Mike Parry.
No, if you look at the way Poland has done it, they have stopped people coming into their country from Belarus with physical deterrents, i.e.
but
fences and walls.
But what about us? We're an island. We're an island. We're an island. We can't have a fence around
Poland
the entire...
is a huge immigration problem.
Listen, but we're an island. You can't have a fence and a wall around an island. I mean, that's not going to work for us. Let me go to Mike Parry. Mike Parry.
Can I come in? Yeah, thank you, Nana. Yes, I think that this relationship between Giorgia Meloni and Rishi Sunak will prosper, because I think we've got to put much more pressure on the whole of the European Union to actually stop the gangs really that are putting these people at risk in these boats and sending them across the water, and that is where we can do a lot more jointly across the whole of Europe, because it is very much in our mutual interest to actually stop all this illegal migration. Also, I think we sometimes forget that these are people who are actually risking their lives going on these boats. And so really it's the gangs that actually prepare the boats that are actually sending these people across that we really need to target. Because, you know, I mean, Italy has had 130,000 illegal migrants cross already. We have actually reduced ours slightly this year, but it is very difficult to stop. We've got to, I mean, France has now put out some barriers across some of the rivers, which is actually helping stop some of these boats from taking off from the coast. I think the more cooperation we can do, I think what it does mean is that with Giorgia, Meloni and Sunak, it shows that being strong on immigration and migration is right. And I think it's becoming more acceptable, because in the end, we're actually looking after people if we stop them getting into those boats in the first place.
That's a good plan. I want to get over to Sean Worth. Sean.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know what any of these guys are talking about, and I imagine neither do they. I just want to give a bit of reality here, right? That the European institutions, political institutions, have failed for years to get a grip of the migrant crisis, and only now is Italy joining us, when Britain has basically had the brunt of this for many years, and it was the reason actually we exited the European Union. If you remember, David Cameron went to Europe and said, look, we want the freedom to be able to have tougher controls here because we are literally under pressure. And they said no, and that's what basically triggered the whole Brexit issue. The reality of this is that European institutions will do literally nothing, but I'm really encouraged by the fact that I think this is the first time I've certainly seen in the last 20 years that another European country has joined us in saying, look, you know, we're not saying we're going to shirk our responsibilities to take genuine asylum seekers, and we have an open, reasonably open immigration system, but we want to be able to control it, and we want more doctors and nurses or dentists or whatever roles we need to fill. The big problem is illegal flows, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. And Europe as a political union, and it's not just the EU, it's this other institution, the European political community is the one that Rishi and the Italian chap are now having a
Giorgia Meloni. Yeah.
thing on. But I don't believe it will work. But I'm pleased that
you're pleased to see.
For the first time they've done it, I think tougher unilateral action in the UK is needed.
Well, it's a good thing. So, OK, so yes or no, quickly, Dennis McShane, is it a good thing? Giorgio or M&S chatting together like that, is it a good thing?
Wonderful thing. It'll make absolutely no difference.
Neil Parrish, good or bad?
Yes.
Mike Parry, sorry.
Yeah, I would say it's a good thing, but I'd like to see more action and less talk.
And Sean Worth, finally, good or bad?
Good thing, but we need unilateral action.
Well, listen, thank you all for your thoughts. Sean Worth, Mike Parry, also Neil Parrish and Dennis McShane. Thank you so much for your thoughts.